Your Art Sherpa? No?
There you go. Now it's
Yes?
Yeah.
Cinnamon Coney, your Art Sherpa? I think we're live. I believe that we're live. I believe we are. We believe we are. We're live for the Big Art Quest About Face number 6.
I think it is number 6.
This is the surreal face. You guys voted on like a type of portrait or face that you wanted to do, and surreal won out by a good landslide. That voice over there is my husband, John. He runs all the cameras so you can see the palette and the painting action and really be like as if you were like right here with me and we were having like a painting class. How are you guys doing today?
Oh, good. They are so here ready for this painting.
I'm so sorry we were not able to do the live yesterday. We've been having some connectivity issues. Fingers crossed for this one. I hope you liked our makeup video of the Starbucks Frappuccino.
Yeah.
0 calories. I was really proud of being able to do that anyway. So today we're going to talk about how now, brown cow, how you might possibly paint across media.
Okay.
So one of the number one questions I'm always getting is, I saw this, I did this, it was in watercolor, it was in oil, it was in charcoal, and I want to do it in acrylic. How do I do that? Which is, one, never something I'm going to be able to write a response to because I'm a slow author. But also because it's really kind of a better show you thing. Because sometimes we'll see something we love and it's in watercolor, and of course we're good art citizens and always ask permission first. But it's in watercolor and we feel inspired by it. We want to translate it into another media. The thing is how watercolor is painted is not how an acrylic is painted. So I demoed how to do this watercolor face as a study. There's a traceable, there's everything in the Big Art Quest website, everything that you can go. It's all there. It's all free. It's just waiting for you.
We have a little thing there. Like, look, I can push a button, and there it is.
Oh, okay.
Look. See, look, go there.
We said we
there,
had a little thing, and I'm
right
like,
there.
oh no, the internet.
Oh,
okay.
no.
So this is on watercolor paper. This is our design. We worked out our colors. We did our study. We made some decisions. I approximated what paints I figured I'd probably have to create this in acrylic.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to translate this. We're going to have picture-in-picture of the watercolor. Isn't it beautiful?
You want to see it go magic?
Magical, surreal. If you're not familiar with surrealism and how it's different from fantasy art, surrealism is supposed to convey to the viewer a sense of dreaming or being in a dreamlike state, having difficulty telling what's real and what's important and what is part of the imagination, whereas fantasy art actually is supposed to transport you into a world of fantasy.
Sorry, I'm having some trouble with my button over there. It'll come back in a minute. Don't worry. I just had to. Don't worry, it's coming.
Shh, picture-in-picture by the Sherpa.
I had some. We had technical issues. Is it you do bad picture-in-picture?
This is
it's
what
supposed
real
to be
art
in,
class with me is like.
It's like you
more
put
reserved.
it's supposed to be in the lower right-hand corner. So the other
Somewhere,
corner.
anywhere you want to put it.
No, you're supposed to put it over there now if you're going to be the picture-in-picture person.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I have to figure out there.
Yeah, so
Like
you put
there.
it on there.
That's picture-in-picture. Picture-in-picture. We actually have picture-in-picture.
We
If
do.
you're brand new here and you thought, I want to learn how to paint a surreal face, and what is this woman's deal? That's a whole nother video. Okay. While John's working on picture-in-picture, I will go to the palette cam and talk to you about materials. Woohoo! So I have my acrylic paint out here. I've chosen ultramarine blue, phthalo green, titanium white, cad yellow medium, quinacridone magenta, naphthol red medium, burnt sienna, yellow ochre, some Prussian blue. I'm also going to probably get into some zinc white to work my clouds. And my very favorite, and this is the new labeling. Let's look at the new labeling. Ah. See how much more sense this makes? Slow drying extender for acrylics. Medium glazing liquids. That's what it does. It does glazes and it slows down how fast your paint dries. And I love this junk. I do. This is a brand new bottle. When did I get this? Did you get this?
I think I picked that up for you.
Yeah, I've been...
I was looking for the new bottle because I thought it looked really cool. I liked the label.
Yeah.
And...
So Golden's... My favorite thing about Golden as a company, they're not a sponsor.
No. We buy all this stuff from the local Michaels. Just like
we
everybody else.
buy this all from the local Michaels. When I'm like, work your coupons, that's what I'm working. I'm going to put my paint out. I got to sketch it out.
You sketch.
Steps. So I have a sepia watercolor pencil here, right? So I can kind of do a sepia like understudy on this face and lay everything in value-wise.
Yeah.
And what that means is I'm going to get my brown out first and kind of sketch it all in sepia first. This is actually a technique you traditionally see in oils, but you can do it in acrylic.
Okay.
And it's going to help me really lay in my tones and my values and some stuff.
Tones.
And then I'm going to come back and add some colors. And I'm going to talk a little bit about expectation.
Oh.
Expectation.
Oh,
I
I
want
should
this to
put
be closer to me so that my neck doesn't hurt.
Oh, there you go. You can just do that.
Yeah, I do that. They'll have their picture-in-picture, and I'll have mine.
yeah,
This is my picture-in-picture.
Look, I can have. Look at that. Look over your shoulder now. See, there's 3 pictures in.
Yeah, but if I do this, I'm gonna be like, my neck is
see what happens.
hurting so bad.
Multi-picture. So
Right, I'm gonna give
I'm
myself just a little swoopy hair thing. I just want to make sure that I'm sort of similar. I'm not having to worry about resizing this, so that's a nice convenience.
I'm gonna zoom in there because that's a little light. I may even adjust
I got
the camera.
cockeyed, and I have what I call slippage, right? Which is a thing that happens when you don't. I have a traceable for this if you don't want to rough this in, but right now what I'm doing is I'm just kind of thinking about my hairline. I don't have to worry about it because I'm doing sepia paint. It's a watercolor pencil. It's all pigment at this stage. And it's going to bind really nicely in with my acrylic painting. And I am imagining, see, that's my face, right? I'm just not going to draw all of it. Let's give her a nice little slender neck coming down at the midpoint. If this is the chin and right here is the cheek, right here I'm going to bring a gentle little neck off. And then she's going to have another little gentle neck. If you haven't done the Big Art Quest before, this is what we call the believe face. This face is designed to help you believe that you could draw.
Hmm.
Got the little ear. Going to talk about the ear right there coming off. Because the idea of the hair is that it is going to be hiding the eyes. Right? And the idea of this face is this is the dreams that's happening above her. If I divide this face in half, I know I'm going to be putting my nose somewhere around here. And I know I'm going to be putting my lips in this middle range between the chin and the nose. So we're going to do a how to do realistic noses easy.
Yeah.
Right, but we've talked about this before. The little balls. This is basically for the believe face. It's a basic shape of a nose. It's a big ball. 2 little balls. Little curly cues. Apparently Eric Cartman is teaching class today. That's fun. Then I'm going to have the divot. That's the bit underneath the end of your nose.
The divot? Is it?
I like to have a nice ball at the base of my lips. And if I had eyes here, I could line up my lips with the pupils. But I'm going to just imagine that the eyes are there, and I'm going to line up my lips. Curve up, curve down, make our little mountain, make our sweet little mountain. Because this is the mouth is not in this piece particularly expressive. Everything happening here is fairly static, actually. All the action's up here. But that doesn't mean that what's happening down here isn't important. Because if we're going to talk about her as the dreamer. The dreamer. See, I'm making my nose shape. Pulling my nostrils in. One thing is remember that this is bisecting into this area because they would be joining into the eye space. Just something to think about.
Mm-hmm.
But not to panic over.
Panic?
Don't panic.
Sheer panic?
No panicking. Panicking is not a good idea.
You know, I always feel...
Looks like I can be even dropping that down a little bit, so I can drop the ear down a little bit. We'll work the ear out later.
I always feel less like panicking when I have a towel.
I feel like the ear has gone. Ignore the ear. Ear will be thought about at another time because the ear actually... So here's the deal. The top of the ear has to be, right? Like, so if there's an eye here, it has to be able to hold the glasses. And so I got it correct in the initial one. And I've just got to make sure that I'm being correct. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
I think we found our swoop. I'll fix that all in paint. I've got another little swoop of hair that's going to come around here and go in front. So once I have that in, I know I'm going to have some little mountains. I'm going to have my little waterfall. But I want to start doing in a tonal study. So here's where my waterfall space will exist. Leaving room for that. I'll have to think about that. And the one shape, I do have a shape in my clouds I like to sort of sketch in.
You do?
When I have one of these really cumulously nimbusy clouds, I like to kind of pre-think about it and sketch it in so that I don't lose its interesting and exciting shape.
You managed to capture a good cumulus nimbus?
Yeah. Catch one, catch them all.
Catch all the
'em all.
clouds.
Catch those clouds. I'm going to just make sure my little mountain happening up here. And then, of course, we have another little bank of fluffy, low banky clouds. The trick is I don't want to have too many, I don't want to clone shapes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because that is death to painting. Not really death, but it does create issues. So I'm going to just tuck those little clouds in. So I know where all that is. Once I know where everything is, I'm going to actually put out my burnt sienna.
Okay.
Burnt sienna.
Why is it burnt?
Because they heat it, and it darkens the pigment, the iron in there.
That was supposed to be an ironically rhetorical question.
I have decided that I will not be funny today, no matter what you do.
So they actually cook some umber?
They cook some sienna.
Or sienna.
They cook raw sienna, and that darkens. Whoa!
And I guess they do the same thing for umber when it's burnt.
Gooey, gooey, goo. Sorry.
Because that's why I immediately went to burnt umber.
You went to burnt umber, and it's not burnt, man. It's not.
Do they burn ochre, too? Is there burnt ochre?
I'm going to put a little white out, not really intrinsic. And this next bit's going to be pretty loose, pretty chill, pretty mellow. And we're going to just kind of value in some of the face. I'm going to get
Let me come down there.
a number 6 bright. This is a Bristlon. You can always find the size of your brush. It'll be right there, number. And then the type of brush it is. It's a bright. Brights are pretty awesome, in my opinion.
Why is that?
Because for acrylic painting, we need to have what's called authority in our paint, in our brushes. And authority means that the brush will tell the paint where to go.
Really?
Yep.
That's what it's all about?
Yeah.
Moving the paint?
Now, when I'm doing a watercolor, right, and I'm turning it into acrylic, is there a way to make acrylic look like watercolor? Yes, there is, but it's a time-consuming, skill-laden way of doing it. That is definitely not what I would... That's a workshop.
Mm-hmm.
Not in any way a beginner course. It's a skill anyone could learn over time. Like, one of the things you'll do is you'll practice painting things to make it look like other things.
Yeah.
In art school. So it's definitely something that you can learn, that you can pick up. But one of the things that you just got to be thinking about when you're painting is that this is not watercolor.
It's a...
When I'm doing the umber here, this umber sketch, what I'm doing is I'm just kind of doing a quick value study of the face. This gives me paint that my canvas can grip to. I'm doing it just 2 colors. If I were very, very specific about it, if I was very like, if I got some black in there and really did a black and white study,
Yeah.
I'd have something that could be a grisaille, which is where you do a study in the paint and value and then glaze the color over it.
Ah. Now,
we're not going to worry about that too much today.
We had a question here. So, Upside Down Silver was asking that she has a real trouble for the life of her. She can't get her nose to come out proportionate. And so she wanted to find out if you had any tips on doing noses.
So, where's the struggle in the proportion? In relationship to the facial features or just in relationship to itself?
I think in relationship to itself.
You know, it'd be really helpful to me, guys, in this
What's
big
that?
art quest. If y'all would do some noses.
Noses.
Here's what you do for me. Do some noses.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's giving you grief in noses? Especially if you're one of the people who are like, my noses suck. I don't like them.
My nose blows.
Share them with me in the Big Art Quest on Facebook and
Yep.
give me permission to use them. And I'll make that will help me talk about where you're at right now and how to get to a more realistic nose. Because I'll see where your brain isn't giving you the information that you're looking for, and that's really all that's happening. And I'll specifically make like a 15-minute do's and don'ts video of noses based on like customized for you for your struggles.
Now we have a
Because I'm loving like that.
Now we have a Big Art Quest group on Facebook.
Yes.
And we have you can go to the website where we have forums and you can ask questions there and post those up there and post pictures.
Because those are really good questions, but a lot of times I got to
Yeah.
see where the struggle's at. Because struggles. My idea of where the struggle's at and your idea of the struggle where it's at, it might be different.
Yeah.
So I'm just shading the face. If you think of this face as a ball, I'm just shading it. I'm going to come back with skin tones later. But believe it or not, this is really going to help me work that out. Because sometimes you guys get lost in the color.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I didn't want to do this week is give you like an eye with a really heavy makeup. Because I feel like everybody's resisting that. They're like, no more of these eyes with the heavy makeup. So I'm using my burnt sienna as my darkest value.
Yeah.
So that's like my shadow, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm just using my white to lighten it up and just create some value in here that I'm later going to completely let go of.
Now, we are having a little bit of internet buffering issues on and off, so we will plan on making sure that this is available later for upload.
Oh, is this not even working today?
Oh, no. Well, it is. It's spotty.
Okay,
it's
so we're going to re-upload?
We're definitely going to be re-uploading this alongside this, but we're going to go ahead and stay here because we've got a huge crowd of people here hanging out with us.
We'll stay here for y'all.
Yeah, and it's coming in and out, enough so that certainly the folks here on the live are going to want to stick around. But we are recording this locally, so afterwards we're going to upload we'll
version
upload a clean
that won't
copy.
be glitchy.
Yeah, we'll upload a clean copy tonight, but we're going to hang in here while we're surfing the tubes because we're only about 16 minutes into this one. And
that's already a thing.
It's already being
you called it, man. You were like, I don't know about today.
It's one of those things, man. Fridays are a tough one to stream on.
So you can see how I'm just sort of lightening the center of the face. I might also get into a smaller brush. One of my smaller brushes. I love little brushes. This is a little brush. This is a number 2 bright. It's going to get me through whatever I need. And I'm just doing these two right now. I like to show you the different ways that you might be painting in faces and the different methods that you can accomplish your goal. Because in art, there is literally so many ways to get it done.
Yeah.
So I'm using my watercolor like for value, right? I'm looking at it for value. But I'm making adjustments understanding that my acrylic, it doesn't do washes. That's all these soft, blendy bits.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's going to dry faster. It's not going to do the bleeds. It's not going to have the softness that my watercolor does.
Mm-hmm. So it looks like, you know, like I said, our stream's cleared up here, and it's probably going to go up and down throughout the day. But we're going to make sure that we upload a clean copy, like we said. There'll be more information on this we'll always keep those links up to date on the Big Art Quest pages, which you can find on our website. Yeah. So, but we're just gonna keep this going and upload the recorded one later. Because everyone's still here. By the way, everyone's saying hello, and they really love how the skin tone is coming out.
It's fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
And this isn't even our skin tone. This is literally the umber. It's not really umber. It's a sepia study. We're just using 2 colors of paint to work out where do I think the highlights are? Where do I think the lowlights are? Right?
Yeah.
What do I think is important in this piece? What do I need to keep before I start getting into my skin tone? And then as I do that, it will help me later. I'm getting some more white here. Make sure that I don't lose it all when I'm painting later. And it's because the way, like, you can't do this really as well with watercolor because, you know, this is going to lift into the color above it. It's going to be all glazing, but you're not trying to glaze.
Yeah.
Are you now?
Are you now?
Are you now? No, you're not trying to glaze. Are you now?
Now, they love the bluish undertones.
On her face?
Yeah.
You could do this in blue if you wanted to feel more blue on
on the hair. I'm talking about like sort of the bluish undertones of the hair and kind of that updo kind of, you know. I'm just reading the comments here.
Oh, no, I love it. I love it. I'm like, I like it when you read the comments. It's my favorite thing. That's why we do these live.
Now, do you ever do watercolor lessons?
You know, we do. We had this one in the Big Art Quest, and I think we'll do them sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I do watercolors. I can explain it. So we probably will cover it because I think that because these are both water-based mediums, I just really don't do oil.
Now, Joan was asking, when you say watercolor, do you mean add a lot of water?
No. I mean, like, this was watercolor paints, and these are acrylic paints.
Okay, so what's the difference between a watercolor paint and an acrylic paint?
Binder. Watercolor paint has a gum Arabic binder, and this has a plastic polymer binder.
This being acrylic paint.
The acrylic has a plastic polymer binder.
Gotcha. Okay. So acrylic paint is a acrylic polymer.
It's a very modern medium.
Very modern and
yeah. Oil uses linseed.
Okay, but
well, not really linseed specifically. Uses different oils based on their ability to dry, not darken or yellow the paint, and not craze.
So there's some similarities between watercolor and acrylic in that they both use water as a solvent.
But they're different in that, again, I could come back with watercolor and glaze over this and glaze, but I could even lift some of it back up. But this, once it's dry, it's really dry.
It cures rather than drying.
Cures rather than dries.
Yeah.
John is translating me today.
No, I'm just, I'm not necessarily translating, but I mean,
I like it because sometimes you will choose a different way of talking about, like you'll pick a different word than I might pick, but it's maybe the right word. I think that's one of the fun things because John has been here listening to me talk about acrylics for about a year now. Plus the marriage. So he's actually sort of familiar with some of the...
I misread the comments. They were commenting about the awesome bluish undertones in the back of your hair.
Oh!
So it was because I was like, oh, because I'm reading the comments and they go by pretty fast. And,
yeah, and if you were wondering if this was live, you're now clear.
I am multitasking. Oh, there's another good question. What's the difference between an ink and a watercolor?
Inks, like an Indian ink and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Again, binder.
Now,
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Now, if I remember, ink contains a dye, whereas paint contains a pigment.
Yeah,
and watercolor has a pigment.
Ink is not permanent, and I don't think ink uses gum arabic.
Some inks are. Some inks are permanent.
Modern inks.
Modern inks, maybe. See, now we're getting into that little bit of, I don't know, nothing. So.
But I'll tell you what's not permanent is your Copic markers. So many feelings of that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, it's because I have what I studied was advertising art, so we had to use a lot of Prismacolor markers, which are
those are
what they had is
but they have a different
they did
purpose
before Copics.
Right, but advertising mediums aren't designed to be.
That's the deal with it. That's what makes me crazy about it, because they're a high vibrancy pigment that's designed for photography, not long-term art. So I see people like doing these incredible bits of art and framing it and selling it, and I'm like, well, that's good for about 5 years. Right.
You did a really big piece with those types of work. It was one of my favorite ones you've done.
I know. It's gone now, isn't it?
It's very faded. It's very, very faded.
It definitely, and it's in a hallway with no direct light.
Yeah.
Under museum glass.
Big museum glass.
Yeah, and that's my issue with Copics at the moment, is that they're a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful tool, but it's about getting the image. It's about getting the photograph, not about the...
Now, they were noticing that she seems to be a lot lighter a lot tanner in this one than she was in
You did not just ask that question. We're doing a sepia understudy.
A sepia understudy. Okay. Well, they're asking here too, because Emily was like, the face is looking.
Okay, so what we're doing is we're taking brown and white and we're kind of sussing out our values. In other words, we're figuring out our values, like where do we want the highlights in the face, where do we want the lowlights.
Okay.
To show you yet another way that you can paint with acrylics and figure out your painting.
Okay.
Because there's sometimes you do things with an acrylic ground and sometimes you do it with an underpainting and sometimes you do it with a pour. I mean, there's like a lot of ways to get a painting done. And I was teasing him, not y'all. Just him, not y'all. Because people come in late and I know that.
So Yeah. So yeah. No. Legit. They were asking like she's looking a little tan.
Yeah.
So
She won't, because we're going to actually make her skin tone. But you're going to find that by doing it this way and then glazing her, that you're going to get a completely different and more oil-like result. No, I didn't come up with a way to do that. Yeah, I did, y'all.
So this is your underpainting still.
This is yes. This is I could have done this in umber too.
An umber study instead of
umber study
instead of a sepia study.
Umber and ember. Anyhow,
A burnt sepia.
End of Magicians. I'm not going to give any spoilers.
No spoilers.
I'm just saying that I have feelings.
Don't mention any of the good stuff that happened in that last episode.
I'm cheating here to darken this. I could use black too, but I feel like I'm just going to use this ultramarine here. I'm going to come in and just make sure that my nostrils, right under my nose, curve under. And again here, have a deep shadow. I'm going to make sure that that kind of curves up. So you're going to see that we're going to get a really interesting result when we go to do her skin that we haven't gotten before. Something different, something new. For some of you, this will be like, oh, I don't like doing it this way. And some of you will be like, this fixes it all for me. And it's for you that I do this. No, I'm just kidding. But it is going to fix it for some of you a great deal.
Yeah.
Who've been really struggling with getting those values in the skin tones. So one of the reasons I like the Big Art Quest on Facebook and the fact that you guys are just sharing Big Art Quest paintings, and that's from last year or this year, right? And your original work that are Big Art Quest related. Because I'm usually not very you must do it this way. But the reason I am is then as I'm looking through, I'll be like, hey, you know what I think would help some people is this.
Yeah.
And I can plan classes so customized for people come in later, you don't get none of this. But the people in the Big Art Quest right now, this is being adapted to where you guys are winning. And then I'm making adjustments to the classes to make sure that you guys continue to win.
Now, they were all just commenting they really like your necklace.
Thank you. This is by Leola. And I'm sure you recognize her. She's a longtime Sherpette, and she makes jewelry, and she sent this to me. She's certainly welcome to always send me more.
We like it.
We do. We like her work. You
get distracted by
she does these jewelry pieces from the paintings that we do here, and others.
Yeah, it was inspired by. So yeah, it is an owl on the little the necklace piece, and I think it's a spoon that she had painted. It's really cool.
Isn't that gorgeous?
It looks so
Yeah, she does some work, man. I would absolutely be stealing stuff out of her studio every day if it was appropriate, which it is not in any way appropriate.
But pilfering be happening.
Pilfering is an accurate assessment of what I would be doing if I was allowed to do it.
Yes.
So I'm doing here?
Yeah.
Just creating some values. And now I have a really good idea of where stuff is.
Okay.
This helps me. And when I come in with my glazes of pinkish, my skin tones, which is going to be the naphthol, the yellow ochre, and the white, which I think is what we did in the watercolor, it's going to give me an incredible result, theoretically. I could be wrong. I didn't do a study of this first. We could be actually watching a Sherpa fail. Hang in. You never know.
Stay tuned this time as the Sherpa tries to paint her way out of a canvas.
It's really probably not going to happen. I mean, it can happen. I do have paintings go real south on me.
I don't know. I just like those 80s, intros to TV series where it was like, uh-oh, folks. Looks like the Sherpa's painted herself into a corner this time. I don't know. It's like, I guess I watched too many Dukes of Hazzard
I think
episodes.
you did, but I'm really happy, so I'm about to put out the rest of my colors and start putting in my painting.
Oh.
But this work here that we've done, I'm adding a little white here at the cheek, and then I'm going to just make sure that I've got my highlights all popped where I think that they should be. So some nice values where I want them is going to just do us such a solid.
Oh.
Such a solid. See, so we're just putting that in there. Making sure we have our values.
Now I'm going to peek over your shoulder there.
Oh, sorry. I get to, what
sometimes.
it is that I'm rocking off my center to protect my back and posture.
Yeah. And it's okay. That's why I don't, it's just you were in a part where I really
So I'm
going to
leave this here to dry, and I'm going to get all this in. This is really the fun bit.
You have your hair dryer now.
Huh?
You have your hair dryer. I fixed it. The hair dryer's okay.
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
He fixed my hair dryer so it doesn't take out our power.
Yeah.
Because if the air conditioning is running, you're like, why aren't no hats? It's
Hot.
summer. And I've been talking to John about the idea that for summer, even though I'm like a fan of a hat or a headband and I'm still totally into it, but it's hot.
It is so hot.
And it gets so hot in the studio. And even with the AC, putting the hat on is just anyways, I'm thinking about it.
Yep.
It depends on how much I keep up my... Did I just put paint on my forehead? No, okay.
You know.
Bangs are like Botox.
How could you
for
tell
dogs.
through the purple hair?
So I'm putting out quinacridone magenta. I've got some yellow ochre there. I've got some Prussian blue. I'm going to put my naphthol over here because I know I'm going to be working that a lot for the skin tones.
Now, Molly lives in India.
Hi.
And she's having trouble finding golden because it's not available there.
Don't worry about getting golden.
What would you suggest for her to look for?
Look for, all right, so you see here how it says phthalo green?
Mm-hmm.
It also says PG7. That's actually what it really is. All the people can name it whatever they want to, like cadmium yellow is PY35.
Mm-hmm.
So you could go to the Golden website if you wanted to and get these numbers off from my list. I actually might make a list with these pigment numbers in the future.
Yeah.
And then find the exact thing, because what you might not know is that PB16 is Winsor Blue.
Oh.
So you might be able to get Winsor & Newton acrylic paint, or you might be able to get Amsterdam acrylic paint, or you might be able to get Holbein acrylic paint. You might be able to get a whole bunch of other brands of acrylic paint and not be able to get the golden. But as long as you know the pigment numbers on a tube of paint,
Yeah.
you are golden. And I think golden should start selling in India.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Everybody should be selling in there.
You should. Here's the thing I learned this year. Can I ask a huge favor, babe?
Yes.
30 seconds on my coffee.
30 seconds
And I'm
on
going to
your-
monologue like a villain.
You're gonna.
I'm going to monologue like a villain for a second.
All right. I'm gonna.
This is a Sherpa monologue.
Shameless self-promotion before you do.
Like, comment, and subscribe if you think these classes are cool. There you go. Surely you don't. But if you did, you should totally like, comment, and subscribe. And also get reminders, because then you'll know when they're happening. Because obviously we have to change for schedules. Here's my monologue like a villain. And this is especially if you're, like, I'm here in the U.S. But actually it doesn't really matter where you are. If you have a product that you like, and you want to see it in your art store, you're the most important person in that component. They really love you. They don't really, I mean, like, I'm, I mean, they'll love me later when we're selling brushes, but I'm really not that important in the component. It's you. It's what you guys want. So if you have something you want, go to wherever you buy your art supplies and tell them, hey, I'd really like to see golden paint in this art store, or hey, I'd like to see silver brushes, or hey, I'd like to see Frederick canvas. Whatever you want to see, or ampersand. It just doesn't, whatever brand it is, right? I'm going to be introducing some cool new brands too of things. Whatever it is, just let them know what it is you want in the store, because they're motivated by you more than anything in the universe. This is true of paint companies. You are the only thing keeping them in business. And these are small boutique practices that generally have families and fewer craftsmen that know this industry. So you're their lifeline. You are what matters. You let them know what you want. You let them know what you like. And also go into your art stores so that you can meet other people that share it. You can see that wall with all the really cool events going on. Got my coffee. That is so my soapbox, I know, but really I cannot tell you how, like, Daniel Smith gold gesso for acrylic paint. We're all into it. We all love it. It was certainly carried in the art stores locally because me and a handful of artists like begged for it. And then when they discontinued it, the group of us were like, no, I can't live without it. Guess what they brought back, even though we're a watercolor company? Gold gesso for acrylic painting. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, you're the component that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my monologue like a villain moment. Is that okay?
Yeah. No, you cannot monologue on your own show.
No, I shouldn't.
This is you could.
Do you know what? Any day that anybody watches this show, I am stumped by it and grateful that this many people care about painting. And I'm so motivated to like make more classes and teach people more paintings. And John will tell you, do more things.
More.
So I guess I'm just
videos.
like the art companies in that I'm like, y'all are what I care about.
Yeah.
I'm going to put some Dogsy Purple out here, too. Which is, in case you needed, PV23.
Now, Tortille asks, why is your paint not drying while you paint? When I paint, it dries within seconds and is really hard to blend.
Are you painting with golden?
Well, so it could be your paint, and it could be your environment.
It's your environment. How dry is your...
Yeah.
But we always have to know what they're painting with.
Yeah.
That can greatly
your quality paint does it too. Yeah.
So there's how dry is your environment? How hot is your environment?
Yep.
The product that you're painting with.
Yep.
Right. So sometimes you guys will ask me a question, and every single type of paint, like if you're painting with Atelier.
If
Sue is in here, she'll say the paint. It's the one that doesn't dry till you cure it.
Oh, yeah. I don't know offhand.
Interactive acrylics. Those are never going to dry. You'd be like, why is my paint never drying? Because you have to do something to dry them. If you paint with golden open, you have to do something to dry them. Some paints dry like in 2 seconds too.
Now you also use a glazing liquid to help extend.
This stuff here is a glazing liquid, and this will fix that problem. By the way, you just mix it into your paint.
Gotcha.
That's what you do.
What you do.
It's what you do.
I have to push a button.
Going to take... I need more white out.
Not white out, but you need white out.
I'm going to put some zinc over here.
Really?
So this is really how I paint.
You're putting zinc out?
Zinc white.
Not titanium white.
And some titanium.
Okay, so you're putting both out.
Putting both out, because I need both for this painting.
Now,
you don't actually have to have both if you can't.
What's the difference between those two? I know.
Well, we have a big art quest all about black and a big art quest all about white, but it's really about the pigment that is in each of these. This is opaque, and this is transparent.
So for today, we just need to know one's opaque, one's transparent. Okay, that's cool.
But I'm going to take the very opaque one and get some yellow into it like you do. Mm-hmm. Because it's fun. And I'm going to start working my clouds, Mr. Cooney, because I have this really exciting sunrise that I've got to duplicate. Do I wish I was using my cloud brushes? Yes, I do. So much right now that I'm going to get by.
Now, so
struggling.
If you're in an area where you're struggling with your paint drying quickly, like we do in our hot dry studio, an extender or glaze may help you.
Yeah, something that is for slowing the drying time of paint, often called something that opens your paint or retards your paint. In different companies. Grumbacher retarder is like amazing, but it just doesn't glaze.
What about extenders?
Extenders can slow the drying time of your paint down by like 10 or 15%, but they're really actually about making your paint go longer. When it says extend, it means I can put very long conversation. Definitely big art quest.
Okay. No problem. Look,
but basically what it is that you can put very little pigment into it because the body of it is like your paint.
Ah, okay.
Whereas retarder is not like your paint. And I'm getting more and more pigment that's brighter yellow so I can have some drama. Because we're like the drama.
On the canvas.
I like the drama on my canvas.
Now, I am zooming in here to notice that
world.
you are varying the difference in the
yellows.
The yellow tone there.
I am. Because I'm trying to create this very esoteric, engaging little space of yum. That's technical, by the way.
Is that how we...
Engaging little space of yum. I'm taking my cad yellow over to my quinacridone magenta. I may add some glaze to it. And I'm going to make sure... that I am working some drama into my space. Starting the foundation of my drama.
Now, Joan missed that real quick. Which one was transparent and which one's opaque?
Zinc white is a transparent white, and it doesn't tint or tone as strongly as titanium. Titanium can overtake your paint. This doesn't, and so is more preferable for portraits and landscapes.
Cool.
If you're like, why do we have both of them?
Yeah, there were lots of people asking why there were a couple ones. So that's why I just want to make sure we knew the difference.
Portraits and landscapes. See, I'm getting some more red into it.
Yeah. Now, opaque means that you can't see through it.
Right.
And transparent means that you can see through it.
I'm going to want to make sure that I'm keeping some interest in my little clouds, and I just barely come here.
And I have to remember sometimes that we have folks from all over the world, so they don't always know.
Yeah.
Sometimes we use very specific words, so I have to make sure that we're explaining it in a couple different ways sometimes.
It's important, man.
Yeah.
And we might need to. So don't feel like you can't just ask those questions. I'm adding some more pink here. And what I'm trying to do is capture some of this feeling of the sky. So the sky is like so many colors, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to create a gemmy sky. I may need to offload. I'm going to get some of my zinc white now. Come right here.
Like Steven Universe Jemmy.
We are the crystal gems.
No.
Always save the day.
There was.
If you think we can. Sorry.
No, I think it's great when you sing.
You started it.
I did.
You started it, Mr. Cooney. And I just finished it. So I'm just trying to get in here and get some of that same feeling, some of that same dramatic feeling that I have in my watercolor. Now I'm softening. I've rinsed out my brush and I'm coming here and I'm just trying to soften these lines, right? Because I want it to feel a little like my watercolor, but it's acrylic. It is not like my watercolor. So this is where glazing is wonderful. Because you can glaze, look at that.
Oh, yeah.
And get some wonderful effects. Creating some really dramatic skies. These are tools. Enjoy them. See, and I can't do that with just an retarder, but I can do that with an extender. But then this also won't dry for minutes. That will be very useful for me.
I see.
Do you?
No.
Do you see?
But the camera does, and I'm watching the TV.
Do you see? No, I'm just enjoying my painting today. I think I lied to you and Lisa about how long this was going to take.
It's going to take 20 minutes, 30 minutes. 2 hours later.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And again,
so I'm
we've
just
had a little
enjoying that. See how I'm like blending that out? It's letting me do that. Here's how I get my really cool kind of sky color. Is actually, I think, going to be a little of my burnt sienna and my phthalo blue. Makes kind of a dark turquoise if you were not aware. And I'm going to do my zinc and some glaze.
Now, we are having some stream issues on and off today, so don't worry, folks. Even if it's getting glitchy, we're going to upload a clean copy after we're done with the broadcast. So feel free to hang out here, ask questions, chat, do our normal thing, and we'll upload another version later so that if you're wanting to go back and catch any of the stuff that may have been missed with that stream dropped, we'll make sure it's up for you.
So what I'm doing is I'm using glazes to kind of give me a similar dreamlike blend here. See? Say.
I do.
Do see.
Now, there's a lot of folks that would love to see you do, maybe a little bit on dimples, because not many people talk about how to paint dimples.
Okay.
And maybe not today,
Totally.
but just add it to the big art quest. That was.
I think those are good things. There's a poll, and we'll keep running polls saying, "Hey, like, what do you need to learn right now?"
And you can find those polls up there on the Big Art Quest page over on theartsherpa.com. Matter of fact, I'll just go. Watch this. Doo-doo. So you can go there at that web page.
See how it's very dreamy, isn't it?
If you guys go out to the Big Art,
and then you can come back and be like, no, I need to pop this right here. Pop. And then you can pop areas. Don't feel like you can't. Don't feel like you can't pop it. Okay, so now I'm going to come here. I've got some white and some quinacridone, like you have, like you do.
have.
I'm going to start working that in. The clouds have pink. Why do the clouds have pink? Why are the clouds pink? Because they are, man.
Because pink clouds are the best kinds of clouds.
They really are. I'm going to just keep pulling that down. This is a very dramatic sky. This whole painting is about this little bit here, which is why we're taking some time here. You can see why everyone kept saying, why watercolor? Why watercolor? Because I was already done with this watercolor sky by now. That's why. But I'm just enjoying this. I'm pressing this out. Let's get into a little of our dogzine and quinacridone here.
Mmm.
Now, if I really, really wanted to slow down the drying of each of these paints, I would also add some of that retarder to each plop of paint. Incorporate that in. I'm going to just struggle through putting in my clouds without my brushes.
Yeah. Soon, though.
Soon.
Everyone's asking when we're going to get those.
It's just really,
Well, we're gonna make it. We're gonna have another video going up, not too long, about brushes. So
yeah,
we'll have news on that on the main website page here, so you can keep an eye out.
Well, we're gonna
for it
talk
there.
about how black pearls are different than these Bristlons.
Yeah, there's been a lot of questions about some of those different things, and we're gonna keep a specific
these
video.
Irregular shapes up. See, I'm finding this dark value here. I'm just trying to look at this as a reference to sort of guide and inform how I'm doing that. And then I'm going to come over into my ultramarine. Yeah, radical that I am. Adding some glazing medium to that. Loading my brush on either side. And also darken this right here. Darkening it up.
Ooh.
Because that was happening in the watercolor. I'm not going to have a blend maybe exactly like what was in the watercolor, but I can actually do a lot in my acrylic and use the watercolor to help me make maybe a surprising color study that will make a surprising acrylic paint. That's the theory. What this should be is a really good acrylic painting when it's all done, but we'll see. I'm going to come along my little ridge here.
Yeah.
Adding some of this blue to about there. And glaze it up. Because I want this just to be a hint of color peeking out above the ridge. Isn't this fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it is. I'm having a good time. I hope you are. I hope you are also having fun. My burnt sienna into my phthalo. No more burnt sienna. I'm going to come right here. There is an interesting kind of crazy bit. It was almost like a brown, and then I'm just thinking about that as I'm...
Now, which brown did you use to make this sepia?
The burnt sienna.
Burnt sienna.
Burnt sienna.
Yeah. And then you'll have that in the description below.
It is in the description below. All right, I'm going to get some of the titanium white this time, which we talked about having a much higher pigment load.
Right.
And I'm going to make sure that I'm brown enough. Are you brown enough? Are you brown enough? Because clouds can be quite dark.
Yeah.
So we've got this sort of happening here. Right, and now we're going to definitely get a lot more white on our brush. Still some glazing. And we'll come here and start putting in this cloud bank, which has got this sort of undervalue.
Yeah.
These are very colorful clouds. One would never ever normally think to paint clouds this way, would we?
No, not really.
So it does take us to places that we don't expect to necessarily go in our painting, to use one media as a reference to try to inform the decisions we make in another one. This is big stuff, by the way. I'm not throwing nothing at you here. It's like a big deal what you're doing. So, you know, it's important to know that the stuff that you're doing here with this and the way that you're doing it matters. I'm pulling some more of the phthalo blue out into the mixture, and I'm going to come over from this side with this much darker occasion of it. All right, pressing this up. Now, one thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to get my zinc. And I'm picking up the paint as I'm going. And see, titanium would really, really overwhelm all of this. Zinc isn't going to do that. Zinc is going to stay very, very transparent. See? And that doesn't mean I always, you know, want it to be transparent. But in this case I do. I'm going to get some titanium white and a little of my glazing medium. And come here and make sure that I'm adding some structural density to this pink area. And so clouds, when you're thinking about them, are highlights and shadows. And so when you're trying to make great clouds, what you're really talking is great highlights and great shadows. Wiping off my brush, just grab some zinc. Come to the front here. We have the top of this purple here. See how that's starting to take shape?
I do.
But it's not removing the work that we did down low. And then I'm going to go into my titanium white. And just top this off a bit. The value of that. Maybe at the front of this. Just see this sort of little stroke I'm making? It's like a little C.
Yep.
There we go. And just keep working that. Here up at the top of this cloud. Just keep working. And we're just talking about, how do I talk about this in this media? I'm going to let this dry for a second so I can get its highlight values in there. You can see how this is still wet, so it's still blendable.
Yeah, it's still blending.
You know, and so like oils, you have a minute if you're using glazing. And so you can get tremendous
That's really
drama.
cool. That's really cool.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my ultramarine and my burnt sienna. I'm going to make a gray. Kind of this brownish gray.
Now, did you use an absorbent ground under this?
No. So if I use an absorbent ground under this, I could do some washes and do a lot of some of these blending techniques. But there's actually a way to just, it's like painting hyperrealism where you can just honestly get in here and paint this like it's a watercolor, but you do it with acrylic. It's a kind of a trip.
Yeah.
You usually have to do that at least 1 or 2 times in art school. Where they're like, make a collage, now paint it. You're like, you're out of assignments, aren't you? But no, it does teach a set of skills. It also helps you understand the limits of your media and sometimes why you make a decision to go with one media, maybe, you know, over another media, which you wouldn't necessarily always understand at the get-go.
Right.
Notice I haven't even pulled my black out. My black is going to be a pop of color in this world.
Is it?
Yeah. It's not going to be, it's going to be like in my trays and stuff like that. Are we kind of loving our sky? Are we feeling our sky? I can't tell.
Yeah. Totally loving this guy.
Well, you're talking to them, so I can't see if they're like, ah!
Yeah. Yeah. No, everybody loves this guy. I think this is great.
And what's nice is if you've seen both pieces done, then you kind of get a sense of how each of them is different in its nature, right, as a medium.
Mm.
I think I want to go higher here.
But you've nurtured both these paintings in a similar way.
Yeah. That's a nice thing to say. Thank you.
You know, just talking about the nature versus nurture of things. Because I have nothing else, folks, back here to do but push buttons and come up with puns.
I'm lifting up some of the white
Why?
to retain some of the pink.
Oh.
Because I really like the pink and I don't want to lose it. So I'm going to actually highlight these the way I did with the black line liner, but with white line.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait,
Because it's crazy like that.
Do you have a white liner pen that you use?
I kind of do. All right. So I have this is my black pearl, number 10 bright. All right. So this has a slightly softer filament, but it still has good push and authority, and it has a really nice edge. And I'm going to sort of rough in my hair now. And I'm going to try to look at this as kind of a way to think about how I'm doing it. So this I noticed had, you know, sort of a yellow ochre base, and it had picked up a little of our blue, and I definitely want to continue that feeling. Look at that. Not doing bad here.
Oh.
Sometimes I feel like it's just awesome
There you go.
to be me.
It's good to feel awesome to be
It
me,
is
though.
good to feel awesome.
I feel awesome.
I just love how that's a very similar.
I think your hair is pretty awesome. It looks pretty good today.
Does it?
Yeah, it's like, where'd it go? See, you got this cool blue. Can you look up quick fast? Nope, see, it's gone. You have to do it faster. Now go. No, it's not.
Stop it.
Maybe if I do it like this. Hold on. I can do this, though.
Okay.
See, I can go over with another camera. Okay.
No,
so
married
fine.
a long time.
She's not going to fall for it.
So I don't know if anybody here is a Jane Austen fan in the audience today. But if you are a Jane Austen fan, I have a theory that we as women are divided into Knightley or Darcy.
Right?
I definitely married Knightley. And probably am more of an Emma.
I don't know what to think about the, because see, I don't.
Bunch of you know me better
See,
right now.
like, except for in terms of like Bridget Jones' Diary, I don't really have a good understanding of these characters.
And that's only because you were made to watch Bridget Jones' Diary.
And like I've seen parts of
I
it.
was like,
I'm
why
not
is any of this happening?
I'm not
I just took
opposed to
some,
it.
you know, we're teaching a class here, so I'm going to have to tell the story
Okay,
real quick.
so yes.
Prussian blue and a little bit of burnt sienna.
Bridget Jones could use some more stormtroopers.
She can use what?
More stormtroopers.
Yeah, he was like, is there going to be zombies? Is there going to be stormtroopers? I'm like, not anytime soon. But then they made Pride and Prejudice zombies, so...
And I was satisfied.
That was actually weirdly good.
I had the book read strangely.
He did. I didn't know how to feel about it at the time. I'm like, I think we need to talk. So we've got that nice neutrality coming in with these blue tones.
Yeah.
Feeling pretty good about that. And see, it's fairly soft, isn't it? In
Yeah.
its composition. So we haven't lost everything that we liked in the watercolor. We're just making concessions and adjustments.
Gotcha.
Burnt sienna impression. And it's not that I'm anti-black. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is a wonderful color, and I don't actually ascribe to the idea that it deadens your paintings. And I don't necessarily think that's true. It can if abused, but titanium white can do that if abused.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be abusive.
Don't abuse your paint.
Don't abuse your paint.
Be nice to the paint.
Be nice to your paint, so it can be nice to you.
Don't feed it after midnight.
So Send me. So see how this has a nice edge?
Yep.
That's why I like it. And it holds it, even after being abused for a whole bunch. And it has been. John's seen it. Brush has been through a lot. I'm going to wipe off my brush. Pick up a little of my yellow ochre and a little more white. Because I want to make sure that I've got that undervalue blended up here. For when I do the dry brushing. See how we're getting it? We're really whipping through this thing.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't feel like it at home, but trust me, we are. I cannot wait to see these, because y'all's Galaxy Goddesses were incredible. Your Galaxy Souls were incredible. Your Butterfly Eye was incredible. Your Dream Faces were incredible. So I'm kind of into everything y'all are doing. It's like a whole thing for me. Also, I'm really digging this acrylic painting. It's got good bones.
They really like it. The only overwhelming question is that she seems to have darker tone to her skin than she did in the watercolor.
Because we haven't done her skin tone.
Well, there we go. Okay, so this is still in the under.
Well, yeah. Until we put her skin tone in, we did what? Do you remember?
I think so. I think so. It was just a little while ago.
A sepia study.
The sepia study with.
In other words, we looked at, like, the same way you might sketch something in pencil. We kind of thought of some values.
Right. Yeah.
And painted those in. So later, when we come back with skin tones, we have this to rely on.
So we'll go over
kind of like, you know how when you're roller skating and they give you that
the little holder thing that keeps you up. Okay, cool. So this is we're still
still way early days. We can't even put until we put this waterfall in. Y'all are good.
Okay, so we're still
early days.
This is still just the shadow tones.
We're actually like down to we might need to get new water pretty soon.
I can do that.
You didn't bring out enough water. Why do I never bring out enough water?
Because you want me to run and stunt hands it. Because you want me to go run and stunt hands it, so I'd have more things to do while I'm on the show.
I'm so sorry. It's really true. He's not wrong in any way.
I'm making
it's a real problem
while I'm over here. I don't know I don't know if that's something that I should be doing while I'm.
How dry are we? I can do the hairdryer though.
You can totally use the hairdryer. Okay. So while she's using the hairdryer, I will say, gosh, thank you guys for sticking in, because we've had a crazy stream today, and. Don't forget to check out all the things at TheArtSherpa.com. That's where we have the pages for this, which you can see there at the big Art Quest page. You can post up your pictures. You can see the polls. We have a bunch of polls going on right now asking how you guys like the new page format, how you like our videos, how we're doing all this stuff. Of course, we have our new ATC club going. All the new signups are going up there. We have the information about our licensing and business support program. That's available there. Of course, the chat's there. That's always going. And me give Cinnamon back her microphone.
Can I just say why I'd want to use this brush and then use this brush for the whole rest of it?
It's your show.
Can I?
You can.
All right. So what I would do.
Okay.
Is I would load this up dry.
Yeah.
And I would come here.
What is that brush you just grabbed?
This is my cloud brush that's coming out soon.
Okay, so this is you're just using it sort of
to
taunting.
just say how much easier. And it does the ideal scumble. Actually, it will just do this perfect little scumble. Oh. Yeah. Right? And it's doing this super scumble, and it gives me this ideal shape when I'm trying to press what I want it to feel like a cloud. I can be like, I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'll show you in a bright. But this is why I went to the trouble saying we need a new kind of brush. Like a new brush.
That handles it differently.
That handles a different way. And all dome scumbles are like trying to grow up and be this brush. And it just lets me really, really push it out. See? All right, I'll do the rest in a bright. That's why I care so. Okay, a little more, just because it's fun.
So this is your brush that'll be available here. Since you pulled it out, I'm going to have to tell everybody. So this is the TheArtSherpa cloud brush that's available through Silver Brush and any of the Silver Brush retailers. Soon. If you have a retailer near you that you'd like to see these in, just ask them and they can order. We have nationwide.
Are you up close on that? Because
Yeah,
I just want to show how it's pressing out. See how it gives me this? And then here's this thing I have. So say I need to get more detail.
What are you doing?
I have sizes. So I can be like, but right here, I need to have this smaller little expression. and it'll do any of these scumbles. Look at that.
Yeah.
So you can get all kind of little wispy, important little scumbly bits. Okay, I'm going to stop.
Yes.
I'm
Because
gonna stop.
you're not even supposed to take those out.
I know, I'm
think.
not. Please
may
don't
get a
tell
phone
on
call.
me. And it's literally a
Right.
tell on me thing, but I look at them every day and I'm like, it would be so much easier. And look, I have up to this size.
Oh, I can't see you there, hon. Oh, you
So
do
there's like
editing.
3 sizes.
So just because you talk about it, so talk to your retailers. They'll be able to order those. We have nationwide distribution. All they have to do is ask. So.
And no, there's no scumbles like this on the planet.
Yeah, those.
I've been looking for my life.
So you're gonna show us how to do that with a regular.
I am.
Bright brush.
I'm going to show you how to do something kind
Where
of
is it
similar.
at? Okay.
Kind of similar with a
Kinda
regular bright brush.
Okay.
So I'm going to load up my regular bright.
And where are you going? All right.
And I'm going to come here and I'm going to make these little dashing strokes. Also good strokes. This isn't terrible.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't get a brush, don't ever feel like you can't, because people paint crazy good things with a toothpick.
Or Q-tips.
Or Q-tips. That's what we've been doing. And we'll continue to do into the near future. Gosh, I hope you like Q-tip art, because it's coming. We're not done.
There's been
So
some
see,
really.
we're just laying down this white. So where I did the black line, I'm kind of coming back and doing some white lining to sort of talk about that and define that. See? I can still do some things, because again, Q-tips.
Yeah.
Q-tips and toothpicks. Like Q-tips and toothpicks, I can paint clouds and
It's almost as if Christine set this up for me. It's
What?
like- she's like, "Have you sourced a good fan brush yet for acrylic?"
Da-da-da-da,
So there's
didn't source it, made it.
yeah. These are just
There's not even a logo on it yet. So this is going to be officially called, I think it's, have we decided it's Sherpa White?
the Sherpa white filament.
It's the Sherpa White filament, and this has such authority and will do any of those nostalgic chipper trees that you were a fan of. It's going to come in initially 2 sizes.
So yeah, you'll see some more of that stuff coming up later.
Yep. We're going to be announcing that, and then all of a sudden we'll be like, happy trees, happy grass. Or chipper trees, chipper grass. Chipper
Super.
nostalgic trees,
They could
chipper
be-
nostalgic grass.
Could they be gleeful?
They could be gleeful. So I'm going to just add a little density and stuff down here. Now, down here, I'm going to do an interesting thing, right?
Uh-huh.
I am going to get some of my zinc and a little of my burnt sienna. And my my watercolors had a little more red capacity to them, so I'll make sure that I'm in there. And I'm going to just right here try to sort of catch that atmospheric perspective that I had down here before the water. I'm going to wipe off my brush and do this all the rest of the way in zinc. I'm not even sure it's going to totally pull off. We'll see. And I'm going to just flick back and forth with my brush, trying to create this sort of misty space here. If we can. We'll see if we can.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a little mistier. See the mist? I don't know.
Yeah,
Do
I
you
like
see
it.
mist?
I like it.
I see mist. I'm going to take a little of my phthalo and a little of my zinc. And I'm going to add another layer here in the
You're
sky.
way up there in the sky. Hold on. Way up there in the sky. There it is.
Just because I feel like it's needed. Just glazing it, right? Glazy glaze.
Glaze
Another
it.
layer of glaze. You can layer your glazes. Did you know that?
Isn't well, I thought that's why glazes were cool. So you do
So
glaze
we're
them.
getting there. I'm not fully feeling it, but I feel like we're getting there.
Here, I like it. I like that.
Are you liking
the blue
it? I'm going to
brushiness
have
of
to
it?
sit there and say it's having its moment.
It's looking good.
I'm going to take a little of my phthalo over to my burnt, and I want it to still be brown, but not, you know, a smidge of white. And I'm going to just dry brush over my dark color here to create my landscape. See, I'm dry brushing. It's brown. And then a dry brush right here. John's going somewhere, I don't know where. Hopefully for new water and coffee. Oh, you're making tea. It's like,
I have
did you get me more coffee?
I did.
You get me new water? No.
Do you not have more coffee?
I'm grabbing some burnt sienna and I'm just adding. I'm just trying to
I can get you more coffee.
talk about the landscape here very lightly. Notice I'm skipping the brush around. I'm going to come to the fronts here and skip a little of this color. Not a lot of that color. Look at that.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. It happened.
You think you're ready for another cup of coffee?
I think I'm always ready for another cup of coffee. I love that somebody was like, did Starbucks encourage you to do that? I'm like, they didn't even need to, man. I'm just taking a little yellow ochre to mimic some of that brighter value that I had in my watercolor. So I added a little yellow ochre and see how that's starting to make my landscape.
Show me what you did there. Show me. I missed it. Sorry, I was away.
It's okay. I'm going to come in.
Show me the color you made there.
I did a little of my burnt sienna over to my yellow ochre.
Ah, okay, cool.
I'm going to, when you're, I know you're stressed.
I just want to make sure I get all the, did I show them?
I'm going to get a small bright so I have some control. Well, I'll show you a bristle brush. This is a number 2 Cambridge. Cambridge is one of the few bristle brushes that you can use with acrylic paint because it has a synthetic blend into it. I'm going to take a little of my white and yellow. Again, like you do. And come right here. Try to enforce this drama that we've got happening around my clouds so that they pop a little bit because I feel like we've lost some of their pop. And I may even grab a little of the yellow this time and my naphthol. Still trying to mimic some of that. Bring that down between these two clouds like we had. There we go. That's what we were looking for. Just bringing it up here. Just trying to show that there's some stuff afoot. Who's afoot? You're afoot.
I missed it. Darn. Sorry, I missed that again.
I just grabbed some yellow. I'm sorry I'm causing him to miss some things. This little passage right here with the pink, I'm going to definitely preserve that because I just like it so much. I'd say that was the winningest thing in the whole painting. Which is a really weird thing to think, but that's how I feel. The best part of the whole painting happened right there. And that'll happen. I'm just blending this right here, trying to create that glowing drama. Who has glowing drama? You're supposed to.
Yeah, I like the glowing drama.
Little glowing drama. So we got a little glowing drama, don't we? Who has glowing drama?
We do?
Yeah, we do. So we're getting there. Yeah?
Yeah, I like it.
All right. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling it. We can let all this rest here for a second. I'll sip what's left of my cold, cold coffee.
Your cold coffee. You tell them about where they can find information on this, and I'll get you some warm coffee.
About this painting? At thebigartquest.com, where we're teaching everyone how to do portraits and faces in different styles. What did I say? TheArtSherpa.com. I'm not tired. I'm good. Are you good? I'm good. Are you still with me? You can do this. You're going to paint this face. You're going to post it on social media, and you're going to go, rawr. I'm so awesome. Yes, you are. Okay, I'm done with coffee then. You can bring me a fresh water, though. That'll make up for it, and I'll get through without coffee. I know where they have it. They make it, you know. Then I'll go buy it from them, even though...
You know how it goes.
They created that unicorn frappuccino drama for me. Oh, okay. I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking that this needs to continue along this line here. So I'm going to take that naphthol red and a little of my cad yellow. You're going to have to just know I am. Ew, my neck. Ew. That's not a good look. Yes, that just happened. For those of you that are like, oh, okay, I'm seeing it now. I did not know.
Here's your water.
I look terrible.
What? Look great.
I don't like my neck. And it's showing.
What?
My neck is showing and I don't like it.
Oh.
It's having a thing. He's like, oh, that's not important. It's so important. Oh my gosh, there's nothing I can do.
Your neck looks just fine.
I'm still going to teach this class.
Besides, everyone was commenting on how awesome they think your hair is looking.
Oh, I need to have some hair. Clearly. It's okay. It's not important. All right, so I've added this drama along that cloud line, and I'm thinking, yes. Do you all agree that there's some yes to that?
Definitely like it.
Just dash it along here, like it is in the watercolor. Ha ha ha, look at us go. See, I'm just dashing using just the end of the brush. So see, this is how it is when you go to switch media.
This is what it's like.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's start painting in the face.
Okay. So now we're pretty happy with the sky.
We're pretty happy with the sky, and we're going to start talking a little bit about the face. I'm going to take a little of my naphthol over to my yellow ochre. And I'm going to make this sort of rosy tone that I have here. Like you do. And this is going to be the basis, adding bits of ultramarine or burnt sienna, adding a little more ochre too, so I have some of it that's more shaded warm. I like to mix up larger batches of skin tone, and I'm going to get, I think a slightly bigger Cambridge. I'm going to get a number 4. I like to mix up different batches of skin tones so that I don't run out easily. I'm going to use glazing, and I'm going to start painting in the face.
Nice.
Now I'm going to start just glazing it in.
So they think that you should be drinking tea today.
I should be drinking tea?
I guess in Europe it's National Tea Day.
Oh, happy to.
So maybe you should make you some tea.
I would love some tea.
Yeah. We were celebrating a holiday here yesterday too. It was George Takei's birthday.
It was.
Yeah. So that was pretty awesome.
So I'm just adding some more white. And what I'm doing is I'm finding the values that I saw there, but I have this to help me and keep glazing. Do these in glazes. I might even move some glazing over there to help me get her face in. See? And how the undervalue is like informing it. Look how blended that looks. It's like crazy, right? It's my favorite thing. Just saying. I love this.
Yeah.
I'll bring this over here so I'm not even having to travel far because I don't even want to go far. Just doing this. And you're going to be like blown away by how it does the face. This is such another good way of doing faces.
I like how it just sort of, it's very, it's like when watercolors just sort of fade in.
Yes.
It's much more like that.
It is much more like that. And it's just one of those processes, one of those ways that you can get more of those results in acrylic. The reason I like acrylic, and it's my go-to media, is because it's like a chameleon of medias. It isn't, you know, it definitely dries fast. It does all those things that people feel like a bit frustrated in acrylic for. But it mimics so many things well. And that is important. Very, very important. And using the glazing lets you blend your skin tones. I'll all the time see people say, well, I'm going to paint the basin in acrylic and I'm going to switch to oils. And what they're really trying to say is that they want to get a blend in. And I'm just like, but the glazing medium will blend it so well. Add zinc to this mix, by the way. Let me show you the trick when you start doing zinc. It's a whole nother deal.
Yeah.
The softness will start to really blow your mind. Because I can come right back, you know, with my shadow value and just work right under here.
Wow, it really changed. It's like just right.
Yeah, it's just an instant thing. It's like that initial bit of work just makes so much difference, and it starts to feel a little bit more like our watercolor, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Makes me very happy. If it makes you happy, it can't be that bad.
Oh, wait, I forgot a button. Push this button, watch.
All right,
There
so
it
I've
is.
got my kind of like little shadow here, and I'm going to start a little bit at the nose and starting to play with those shadows. But they're glazed.
They're glazed.
They're glazed shadows. And glazing,
Interesting.
and because it's also, it slows down the drying time of our paint, we have this tremendous amount of time to just work it all out.
Wow.
I'm pulling glaze into that ultramarine, and I'm going to just blend it here.
That's really interesting. I wouldn't. Oh, a little focus thing here. I wouldn't have thought that it would.
Be that big a deal?
Yeah, I would just change that much.
Yeah. It's a real thing.
Yeah. Yeah, there were lots of comments where people were like, "Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was going to try to do this in acrylic because the watercolor turned out so nice, but now you're making me think I may want to try it in
Yeah,
acrylic, Sherpa."
it's just...
It's a different effect, isn't
It's
it?
a different effect. And for some of you, it will fix so much that's giving you trouble. Not everyone. Some people will be like, no, I'm not really into this glazing thing. I don't really like how it works. And that's totally okay. Nothing wrong with that.
But glazes work with skin so well because, you know, and I learned this in the video game industry, that to make more realistic skin, you have to have lots of layers because our skin is transparent and reflects light at different layers, literally.
It's so true.
So, you know, when trying to make realistic 3D characters, it's very difficult when all the light is reflecting off the surface. And so they had to make shaders to make the skin actually have depth and tone. And we went through a period in the video game world where everybody looked like corpses because we were all trying to dial that in. But
I remember that. Final Fantasy. Woo!
But, you know, it's
that whole movie, I was like, this is just a really creepy movie.
Well, technology, you know, it's one of those things where, and that's a good example of it, is if you don't dial in that look just right, your eye catches it really quickly.
It really does, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it knows so fast.
Got some green in there.
Oop, is that bad?
Well, it should be green.
Wait.
Wasn't the direction I was trying to go.
No green skin?
Was not trying to quite get a green skin going.
Work on some Vulcan. Yeah.
A little of it get in there, but not go crazy.
Yeah. So,
I'm just enjoying the blending out her face and her skin tone.
Mm.
Yep. You were saying something.
Oh, Tenna was actually saying she thinks she's going to try to do both now.
She's going to what?
She's going to try to do both of them now.
I hope so, because I think there's something to take away from both of these paintings.
Yeah.
They each have something amazing to give us. And, you know, I'm just blending here. And I wipe off my brush a lot, you might notice. And that's a lot about I'm blending and I want to take off excessive pigment that I'm not trying to pick up. It's controlling the amount of pigment that I'm dealing with. Do y'all just love the blend on all this?
Yes, everyone's just thinking this is it's like a magic trick.
It is like a magic trick.
It's like watching those watercolors come together, the way they develop.
Thank you for staying on my neck. I had no idea. I'm freaking out about that. He's going to have to hear about that for days. I had no idea.
You're being silly.
Go around in your head thinking one thing, and then you find out it's another thing. Freak you out all day. Throw this shirt out tomorrow. Just like, oh my gosh. All right, keep going.
Hey, look, you're driving this boat.
No, I'm saying to them.
Okay. I'm just
kidnapped.
I'm just pushing the buttons, you know. It's like I'm the tour director on the SS Minnow.
Well, I hope we're going to do better than the Minnow.
Well, you know, it's a 3-hour tour.
Well, whoever makes it through today is going to come away with a completely different and powerful understanding, right, of how they're doing their faces.
Yeah.
Aren't they?
Now that, I tell you what, I would not have guessed that skin tone would have come together from the understudy.
So I'm pulling in my base skin tone into a little more of my Naphthol red. I'm going to really, really lighten here. I might grab a little more yellow. I still want it to be quite rosy.
What is...
More glaze.
We'll come back to that later. You'll have to explain what palette you're using there, because they're like...
Oh, you bought it for me.
Yeah.
I'm testing it. We're doing some paint pours, and so John got this very special, these very special palettes and sheets of plastic that will allow you just to peel the acrylic paint off.
Yeah, it's actually it's a really cool thing. It's called a peel palette.
I'm gonna grab a little more zinc.
And it's a
Just lighten
non-stick
it right here.
surface for acrylic.
Keep lightening it.
Yeah. So yeah, you've been enjoying that what do they call those things that you put palette. Hey, look, that word just fell out of my mouth.
The word just fell. Whoa!
Uh-oh.
It just fell right off the easel.
So you've been enjoying that palette-y thing?
I love it.
And what about the cloud you've been standing on? That's the other thing you've been reviewing.
I really love the cloud I'm standing on.
We're gonna put that. We're gonna do a little video on those kind of things.
Yeah, it's got paint all over it. It looks like it's been well loved.
and
so I'm adding this to my zinc, which is also a bit like a tint, and I'm just continuing to lighten and.
Now the one that you've done over to the right was watercolor.
Yes.
And this one is acrylic.
Yeah, and we're just talking about the differences.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see how Moana on that one that I took down ended up looking so different between the two of them. Because the watercolor also lightens up as it dries.
Right. And so it's whereas acrylic tends to darken, doesn't it?
As it dries.
Yeah, so
Different challenges. But see, I can be here glazing forever. Lightening and softening and blending and getting my skin to where I'd like it to be. So I'll take my base skin mix and a little more yellow. Get a little more glaze. And just keep going. Little too much pigment on that. So what I want to do is wipe off my brush. Work it out as light as I can. And keep going. Sorry this took longer than I thought, babe.
No, it's totally okay. I like it.
We have these discussions like, how long do you think we're going to be there? And I'll be like, an hour.
And I'm always, there's internal, there's cinnamon time, and then there's my time of going, well, there's the intro, the outro. She's not thinking about her monologue because she's going to monologue.
The fact that I'm going to monologue like a villain.
She'll
We're
probably,
still a lot darker than the painting.
You probably need a couple.
But I'm not really particularly disturbed by it, if I can be totally honest.
Yeah, that's okay.
And I'm just offloading and finding little bits and then coming back and glazing them. See? I'm going to work my nose now. I'm going to get back into my smaller brush for that.
I just left you there. I thought you were painting. I wouldn't think you were.
Is it neck? Did you leave me with the neck again? You did.
No, I left you on the other,
on
this one right here. I went to go look for you, and you're just like.
Gonna freak out. We're gonna have a long.
You're being so weird.
Day. It's okay.
They do like your jewelry. I think that.
Thank you.
Your necklace and your bracelet. They thought that was
They're
pretty.
really sweet. It's cool. It's all good. I'll get through. Don't worry.
Everyone's giving Cinnamon big art hugs.
I'm gonna need them, man. It's all right. So I'm just making sure. What I want to make sure that I have is that I preserve the shadows that I need to have around my nose.
That's so incredible. I would never have thought that this turned out that. I mean, because
yeah, it's crazy, right?
You can see them both in frame here now, and they're just it's really, really cool. I'm sorry, you'll get you paint.
It just trips me out. I'm gonna just make sure I've got just a little actual skin tone here before I put the dark values in there. Just keep working it up. That's the thing, is you're just trying to constantly like work it up, find its space. So, but we are softening her face a great deal, which is important. I want to make sure that I have a nice little highlight right here. Definitely want a little highlight right there, a little one there. Which I remember that I wanted because... And I like these shadows here quite a lot. So when I do the shadow here, which is really the Doxanine purple and the ultramarine, right, for those shadows.
Brenda likes the skin tones in the acrylic more.
Well, thank you. I'm going to make sure I glaze this. And I can lighten her more. I can keep taking her lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter.
Yeah.
And all she'll do is get better and more resolved.
Okay.
Here's the shadow there. There's the shadow at the top of the lip.
Oh.
And I'm going to glaze the shadow under the hair, which we had in the watercolor. And I stayed true to that. So it had this sort of purple, glazing.
Yeah.
I'm keeping it.
You kind of like that. That bluish purpley hue.
Yeah. It makes a stronger painting. So when you're talking about working artists, right, and you're talking about the types of things that they do.
You work them in the mine?
Working in the coal mine. This is the kinds of things that they do. I'm going to bring some of the shadow under here. Is having like a watercolor study that they do, maybe a pastel study that they use to work out things like color and form and stuff, their lighting story, whatever it is that they've got going on. And then paint it in whatever their primary medium is. And it creates a unique look to their work because of process.
Ah.
Going to add the shadow value in the ear. Maybe a little bit down the side of the face now. Keep glazing.
Yeah, now the acrylic looks much more complex than the watercolor.
It is. There's a lot more going on. Again, which is why I think some people really like to take on watercolor.
Yeah.
But I think the acrylic is wonderful.
They each have their own advantages and challenges, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Little doo-doo-doo. That's, you know. That was cool.
Just gotta. Now I'm being a little subtractive here. I'm taking this and I'm dusting, and I just don't want it to be so strong. See? Blending, pushing this around. Look at that. Didn't even know you had that, did you?
Oh, wow.
As an option. As a really cool option. So I'm actually going to do the lips with the quinacridone, I think.
Okay.
And I'm going to start with almost like a glaze of the just pure quinacridone. It's a lot, it feels a lot sometimes when you're doing this work like you're applying lipstick over actual lips, like a lip gloss. Check that out. Isn't that crazy?
That is, I'm going to zoom out so I can see them both. Yeah.
It's crazy, right? I'm going to grab a little of my zinc. I'll come here and I'll inform this bit of the lip some more. A little more zinc, and maybe inform this bit a little bit more, blending those two in. But still, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
There's one more little highlight that I could put in there, and now I'm going to add just a smidge of yellow to my mixture to warm it up. I'm going to lighten it up. Just trying to find it with my titanium white. So it's quite light, but I'm still going to glaze it in.
Just glazing right over that.
Soft that
We didn't
is?
lose audio. We just all got quiet.
Oh.
I didn't want to. You're
Interfere?
adamant on that, and I'm like watching. I'm waiting, and I'm like, normally the Sherpa's going to say something right about now. And
No,
I'm waiting,
I'm just
and
softly
you're in
blending,
there.
and I just
I
don't know
know
if everyone can see what a soft
Oh,
blend
yeah.
that is.
We can see it. We were like, did the mic break?
Put some more glaze
You know,
over here.
because normally you're just so quiet
I
on
know,
this show.
I know. Normally I'm like going, but in that one I was just really drilled in.
You were thinking about the brush stroke.
Making sure that my shadow is nicely glazed here. Ugh, so loving that.
Yeah, I
Now,
like it too.
I'm going to do my Prussian blue. I could do black, but I felt like on the watercolor this came across a little bit like, you know, more of a blue color.
Mm.
I may come back with black in a minute and dry brush, but I'm going to just dry brush this down. Because I want to mimic the dry brushing that I had on the first piece.
Ah. Now, could you explain real quick? I know some people are new at this today. What is dry brushing?
Dry brushing means I don't have a lot of fluidity or moisture in my brush. So it's just the paint. The brush hasn't been put in water or medium, flow medium or anything. And I'm going over the canvas, and the structure of the canvas is peeking through the paint strokes.
So this, I'm going to zoom in on it. So like
it's just really, you can see all the texture of the canvas.
It causes it, so the paint only gets picked up by the top of the canvas, right?
Yeah.
And that way it...
That's another way to create layers. You can dry brush a whole thing too.
Use a combination of dry brushing and washes.
To be honest, I could lighten her up another layer, but I just don't feel like it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm not even opting out. I just like her where she is.
Oh, yeah. You know, I do too. I think it looks really good. And so does everybody else here. They're like, ooh. And Susan and a lot of other folks are really interested in your palette. So we're gonna put a link to the palette in the description below. You can find it on Amazon.
They come in sizes.
They have a couple different sizes.
They come in sizes.
We'll put a link up in there.
And come up here to the upper part of the hair and just stroke down what would be like maybe kind of like a hair feeling there, just so that they're blended.
Oh.
Now, to do the water here, I'm gonna definitely switch out to cleaner. I'm gonna get one of my small brushes. This is a number 2 bright. I'm going to start out by just sketching it in white.
Oh, sketching in the waterfall?
So I have a cheekbone here that goes to the crease. So I'm pretending that's like a rock. And I'm going to pull a little tear right here. I'm just telling the story of the water this waterfall becoming her tears. All right, so here we are. Pulling that up.
So when
and that's going to give a nice basis for us to tell this waterfall story.
Let me ask you something here. When you say glaze the shadow, do you just use glaze, or did you always mix it with some paint?
Dog's-Name purple.
You had Dog's-Name purple and glaze.
And I did it in glazes because can you see how that's sort of like this floated shadow there? I'm just trying to make sure that I'm telling the story in a similar way. These are different medium, but I still want to tell the story in a different, in a similar way. Because why not? Isn't that nice, that little waterfall?
Yeah.
So we can come back now and make sure that your water is always level as it can be.
Mm.
It's important. It's important. All right. So we have little trees and a little wolf and some birds, a water drop, and some hair left.
Yes.
How are we doing?
Good.
Are we doing good?
Really good. Yeah. No. Everything's going really well, baby. You need to just be happy. How are we doing on the painting? How much farther do we have to go?
Not much farther.
Yeah.
Trees, wolf, birds, hair, water droplet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now we want everybody to share this up for us because you can find this on the Big Art.
Sorry, this ended up being a long lesson, y'all.
That's okay. No,
I got 15-minute ones.
Yeah, you can share your stuff up on the Big Art Quest.
I'm gonna get a little brush.
Okay, you get your little brush.
I'm gonna get a little brush. Little brush. And a little brush. Just trying to figure out. I'll do one of these. This is a 1/4 inch angle by Ruby Satin. These are my favorite angles. These are my mom's favorite angles. These are really just bombastic angles. Yeah. And I like the smaller ones. So I'm going to pull this. You could do this with a bright too. I just wanted to show you this little thing. So I'm going to create, without my bracelet, because it's going to get in the intimacy of my canvas, these articulated curve lines with my little angle of my trees. I'm going to plane them all, and then I'm going to grow them up.
Mm-hmm.
and then grass them. So I'm going to take the corner of my brush now and just drop it in. See, just little shapes. Just overall little feelings of pines that are in the distant woods. And then I can be like, grass, 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 grass. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah, it is.
Grass, grass, grass.
Oop, I'm going to zoom in on that a little bit.
So I know a lot of you guys have been asking me lately about angles. And I would say that of the angles out there, there's nothing like a 1/4 inch of satin. Just, you know, that is a really on point angle. It does the job. You do this with a bright too?
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter. What you're just trying to tell is a little story of little trees. Little lone pine trees in the woods. So I go just dab, 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 dab. Just trying to show the little light shining through. When you get down to where Mr. Wolfie is. Mr. Wolfie has life. Grass, 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 grass. Look at those fine little grasses. Is that insane? Look how fine they are.
Those are awesome.
I'm just saying. All right. Sort of like whimsical little trees. My trees have been infected by joy. They sing and dance on the mountain. Can you hear them? No, don't listen to the trees. All right, here we go. Here we go, go, go. And you're doing this really well. You've got this, guys. You've totally got this. This is in you. These trees are in you. They're in your heart. You just have to let them out to live on this canvas. The laughter she's got going on right now is just a crack up. And I'm just telling this little, look at this little shrubberies.
Yeah.
Tell the story of the shrubberies. The Knights of Ni want you to. And the grasses. The little grasses, guys. Give them grasses. Give them grasses. How many grasses do you have, Mr. Cooney?
Lots.
Lots? How do we like our grasses?
I am loving that.
Now we need some trees to go. Neep. Kind of gave that one a crazy little crookedness so that maybe that'll convey. We'll see.
And I remember
we don't want to make patterns.
I remember you talking about gesture on these trees.
These trees have a lot of gesture. These trees might have too much gesture right here. I might need to add another tree here. You're too dancy. Just to balance out the grove is all I'm saying. That grove got a little too jaunty.
Did it?
No, there's really not a right or wrong. There's just do you like it or you do not like it. I'll see people who like completely nailed a painting and they're just so upset at that painting. And then other people who, you know, maybe didn't go like that far, but who are loving it. And I would say that journey is entirely inward and about the student and not about the painting.
Yeah.
You know, there just isn't right or wrong or art. There's just, is it what you meant? And are you happy with the result? If you meant it and you were happy with the result, you won. Everybody else is just sort of an afterthought. Not that you don't have to think about where your artwork's going to live after it leaves you. Runs away from home.
Mm-hmm.
Leave a little blank spot there, maybe a little more grass. Just, you know, talking about landscape. Maybe a tall curve tree, tall tree. And then a couple short trees. And And just put these little guys in. See, it's not that bad.
There we go.
Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Happy, happy times. So how are you guys doing? How are they doing in the little chat?
Lovely. This is going really great. We just managed to pop up the links there in the description below for that peel palette, so they can
cool.
they can find that there. It's also on the website there. So a lot of folks were like, "Where can we get that? How can we find it?" And so I was like, "All right, we'll just throw the link up there so you guys can figure out where that's at."
Yeah. It's a cool thing.
They're really neat. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I have like a fantasy part of me that just is like, you know what I would like to paint on is a slab of granite. But then I thought about what that would be like to clean. And then I was like, what I'm not painting on is a slab of granite. So we just have this like little world right now. You can layer it up here. Little more grasses. Right? Just to say that this has got, you know, little bits of stuff.
Where'd you go?
Let's curve a
that's why
nice
you're there.
happy tree this way. Curve a nice happy tree this way. It has a third little friend down here. It's a little friend. It's like, oh, I overcurved it. It's okay. Not really a problem.
Overcurve.
Overcurved. I got calligraphy on it. These are, if you're good at calligraphy, these are your friend. Alright, so I'll plant all these and see. When you have a tree that gets a little robust, you just like, no, no, no. You have more foliage than your friends. They just not even. Why can trees be fluffy? Trees are allowed to be so fluffy.
Now, you make these trees all bendy
I do.
because of gesture? That's right?
Because, yeah, you know, I could make them all straight, and that's one way to tell the story, right? It's not really my way of telling a story, but it is one way of telling the story. I like when objects in the canvas, even if they're static, like she's static, the way the lines flow and the way, you know, things are.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, if I was even pushing her more, there might be some gesture to her face where things are constantly in motion.
Oh, yeah.
The tree's positioning makes this seem a more interesting horizon line, I believe.
Yeah.
It is an opinion I have. You may not share it. You might be like, I don't agree with your opinion there, Miss Cooney.
You may want to have all little straight lined up trees.
You might, and that's okay. Again, there isn't right or wrong in art, except don't eat your paint, and even that has like people who broke that. There are no rules, man.
Yeah.
There's some guidelines and some safety concerns. And some skills you can learn, and then it's the things you follow and the things that you don't that somehow make the painting, I guess.
Yeah.
It's why, you know, John knows, like, the thing that gets me is like, is it good? Oh, man. Can't really answer that question. Is it good? It's not even a real question. All right, I'm going to
This is amazing. I love it. I love the trees against that cloudy background.
I'm going to use my 3/0 brush to paint my little wolf in.
You did a wolf.
Little wolf. Let's see if I can do him again. Free-handed.
The little Twix going ruff, ruff.
Yeah, he's a little bigger than Twix out here in the woods. I'm going to do a little dot. I'm going to take a little ear back. Maybe have a little snout. Howling up at the moon. Little chest. Down to some haunches. It's a weird thing I feel like putting in. And I'm like assuming anyone knows I mean wolf when I do this too. Maybe a little wolfy tail.
I think it looks great. I like him.
I don't know, it's like the whole reason the forest is all about him anyways. And isn't he really her? In some way? I feel like maybe he is really her. But that's my opinion. Let's do some birds. Little V with... I like a flourished V to talk about birds. Some of them are little. And some of them are bigger. Little birds in the distance, flying in from far away. Yeah, I'm generally not a lifeless designer. Things are afoot, you know what I'm saying? And they're chaotic and you feel like there's birds coming?
Yeah.
Birds are on the way.
They're flying around.
They're flying around, man.
There's a flock of birds.
The dude buds. I didn't go there.
Yep.
That didn't happen. I'm gonna take a number 4 Cambridge.
Yep.
Just a number 4 bright. I'm gonna take no water on that brush. I'm gonna come here and dry brush down. Not too much, because I don't want it to be too black. Come around the ear a bit. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side, and then I'm going to do the drop. That's what's happening here.
That's what's happening?
That is what is happening here.
Yeah.
And then once the drop is done, we're done. We got through it. We converted our watercolor into an acrylic, and we held pretty well. Definitely got darker, but we embraced it.
I like it.
I like it.
So we're just doing some drippy.
We're going to do the drop.
All right.
So the best aqua I'm going to get here is, this is as close, if you have a Southern Ocean Blue, you can just go grab your Southern Ocean Blue. If you don't, you can make some phthalo turquoise, which is phthalo green and phthalo blue.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to use this first value as the darkest color of my drop. Use my glaze. And I'm going to come down and glaze this whole drop, this dark, dark value. There's going to be highlights, but I'm going to first tone it.
You're just glazing over the top of that there?
Just glazing over the top of it. All I got to do, really. I'm going to get my little brush.
Which little brush?
My little 3/0, and I'm going to grab some of my black and some of my glaze.
Okay.
And I want just a little of this gray glaze because under each drop, I'm going to cast a shadow. Carry that up, maybe the right-hand side of it. This is the soft part of my shadow.
Mm.
There'll be a hard part of my shadow, but I don't worry about it yet. I'm going to also cast a shadow under the tear fall.
Oh, give it some depth, huh?
Mm-hmm. Give it some weight in its world. So once I have that in, I can get just the tip of my brush and make sure that just some of this has the deep shadow in it. Maybe like a little bit even right here as it comes down. Makes it feel like it's falling from somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to get my number 0 and I'm going to add a smidge of this color over here to my white. Start pulling down some watery values. Not a pure white by any means, but just some watery values. See how they are watery values?
Yeah.
I'm going to get some titanium white. And at the top of the fall, where it's cresting, definitely going to add some of that. And then a couple of places coming down the fall, I'm going to add some just pure white. Like right here.
Mm-hmm.
Show that it's falling there. And then, where the drops are, I'm going to get just a bit of this white. And at the end of the drop, I'm going to put its little reflection in. And that's to show its little main highlight. There you go. It's signing time.
Nice.
Dude, we did it.
We did.
We did it.
Let's
look at
awesome.
them. Here we are.
Wow.
So I would say that if I was trying to really, really replicate this, I would take a third glaze with a very light value over everything to lighten her up. I just felt the piece worked really well.
You liked it.
And that'll happen to you sometimes. Sometimes you'll be going, you know, I like it where it is, and always be brave enough to pump the brakes and not be like, well, I had this plan and I have to stick to it. It is absolutely okay to recognize that you've had a win and go with it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assign her. Sign the Dreamer. And it's interesting. I bet you guys have noticed some differences between the acrylic.
Yeah. There's definitely some differences.
And the watercolor. And there might be things that you like about both of them. There certainly is for me. But knowing what to expect when you're trying to translate from one medium to another, it's an important thing for you as an artist, because if you see a watercolor and you try to do it in acrylic and you're expecting those exact effects, and you're not going to some extreme like combining acrylic color grounds with glazes and spending like 50 extra to 100 extra hours on the piece, you're going to be really, really disappointed. And even then, it's always going to feel a little bit like an acrylic because a canvas is different than paper. And you're going to feel like the failing is somehow in you, instead of being present in that moment to recognize there's some awesomeness happening there. And this watercolor can somehow inform what you're doing in your acrylic and make it an even better painting. Like, I feel like this is even a better painting because the study was done in one medium and it was translated to this. And then we even had a pencil in there. So it was like there was a 3-medium journey to the story.
Yeah.
Hopefully that was informative.
I think so. That was really great. Now, where can they find out more information on this?
TheArtSherpa.com/BAQ.
And we have a whole bunch of stuff there where you can post up questions, you can post up your pictures, we can give chat. There's other Sherpettes there that are always out helping. Really great bunch of resources out there.
I hope you guys can make Saturday. We have a very exciting day of collabing Saturday and some real big surprises there. I'm going to be doing that really tomorrow's lesson under an hour.
Yeah.
For sure. Under an hour. Real light. Thank you guys for being brave and doing this. It is hard to learn how to do portraits and faces. It's very stressful, and you guys are the bravest, most awesome community on the planet. I love seeing your work on the Big Art Quest. Please drop it there. Please share. Please definitely share those noses with me. If you're like, man, my noses need work, definitely share those with me so I can use those to plan that really cool set of lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Be good to each other. Be good to yourselves. See you at the easel really soon.